Cheney tweeting her reaction to Donald Trump's win just moments ago. Here's what she says, quote, "Our nation's democratic system functioned last night, and we have a new president-elect. All Americans are bound, whether we like the outcome or not, to accept the results of our elections. We now have a special responsibility as citizens of the greatest nation on earth to do everything we can to support and defend our Constitution, preserve the rule of law, and ensure that our institutions hold over these coming 4 years. Citizens across this country, our courts, members of the press, and those serving in our federal, state, and local governments must now be the guardrails of democracy."
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Opinions Vary. Opinions with an A. Please like, share, and subscribe. Glad to have you here with me on this historic day. Last night was a blowout, especially for a Republican. To dominate the way Donald Trump did is Reagan-like. I don't think we've seen anything like that since Reagan. He's going to dominate the popular vote. He dominated every swing state. Just a rebuke of the leftist dystopian ideology that I believe we've been living with for the past many years and put into effect over the last 4. So without further ado, let's get into so many to choose from. A CNN meltdown and Scott Jennings doing his best to be the only one with some common sense on the panel. And let's just get into it, and I'll comment along the way.
So, of course, Liz Cheney had devoted herself to preventing Donald Trump from ever entering the White House again. But the Never Trump movement inside the Republican Party, honestly, not borne out here.
Losers.
Bang up job. I mean, this Never Trump whole complex that grew over the last several years, nothing has ever failed as hard in politics as this. The
Facts.
Lincoln Project, all these people that built millions upon millions upon millions of dollars from Democratic donors, and all the eggs that was put in this basket. The split was amazing. Trump got like 94% of Republicans.
They need to be sent now to the dustbin of history. This whole Never Trump movement, go away. You are officially irrelevant.
I don't think they accomplished anything except probably build a bunch of beach houses. That's about what they did.
It's sort of like the BLM movement. You know, the only people who benefit from this nonsense are the people at the top. Everybody who's dumb enough to donate to it and attach their wagon to this, they'll just be left in the dust. The people that started it, they're fine. They're laughing all the way to the bank, no matter what.
Republicans being lectured to, condescended to, browbeaten by all these folks over the last. I mean, look, at some juncture, it's okay if we have different opinions about the election. You don't have to beat people to death over it. And the more you do that, the more it drives people away. Total failure.
So
Bingo.
I think it's important to level set that the statement that Liz Cheney is making in the Trump era.
That statement by Liz Cheney is a dog whistle. If Donald Trump put out a tweet like that, it would be called a dog whistle, because that's a dog whistle. That's a dog whistle to gin up, the factions on the left. We know who they are, to create chaos within the government, outside the government, all over the country. That's what that was. Read it again if you need to, ladies and gentlemen. That was a dog whistle to that entire faction, that entire movement.
Is an important one. Now, you can argue that politically the Never Trump effort failed.
Actually, let me pause you for one second, because there is a difference between Donald Trump and the Lincoln Project and what happened with Liz Cheney, which was a break that occurred after January 6th.
Yes. And you can't, Scott, you can't pretend that Donald Trump has not spent a lot of his time and energy trying to convince the American people that the electoral system in this country is rigged. And
there are many problems with the system. They're still counting votes this morning. Why? Why are these states still counting votes? Why? It's unacceptable.
That's before you even get to January 6th. I'm gonna give you the political ramification. I'm gonna let you have that argument. It is incredibly important for people to say our systems will hold, our institutions will hold, our elections are free and fair. Even if we don't like the outcome, we have to abide by them. And you cannot pretend in the Donald Trump era that that's not an important thing to say.
I was happy to say these things before we knew the outcome of the election. I will just point out in our own exit polling on the issue of democracy, 73% of the people said They thought democracy was threatened, and they split evenly between the two campaigns, 49 to 49. And so,
because democracy also means stopping. Well, first of all, we don't live in a democracy. I can't stand a democracy. We don't live in a democracy. We are a republic. That aside, the people that voted 49 on this side for democracy are worried about censorship on social media, censorship within the media itself, just being shut down in public spaces at school boards, having the FBI sent after you because you speak up at a school board meeting. Yeah. Having Donald Trump, a candidate, thrown off ballots, having a candidate indicted on zombie charges and then convicted on ginned up nonsense. Yeah, that's democracy that 49% was worried about. I love how that just boomeranged back on all of these people. I love it.
you know,
Well, that's probably because Donald Trump spent a lot of time telling a lot of people not to trust our democracy, no?
Yeah.
We're not a democracy. I'm going to say it every time.
Which goes to, I hear you and Republicans making the argument that Trump won on this kind of like fundamentally unifying message. I would sincerely hope that he uses this moment to remind people, reassure people that our elections are free and fair in this country. He wields an enormous amount of power. He has a loyal following. I'm not saying I believe that he will, unfortunately. But he wields an enormous amount of influence, and he should use it for good.
But I don't think
that
he
there
will.
is the
problem.
I doubt he will,
unfortunately.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even hear you over there. Go ahead.
Okay.
People are unhinged.
No, unfortunately, just as his previous term, I don't think that he will. I think we already have the evidence that he won't.
What evidence during his previous term? What evidence? What did he do? During COVID, he could have been the biggest dictator ever. He didn't. He wasn't. Democrats were the lockdown kings. Democrats were the vaccine I can't even say the word. The mandators of the. Okay? Not Donald Trump. The projection again.
And I think he just ran a very divisive campaign.
The guy that they called Hitler and a Yahtzee over and over again. He's the one who ran the divisive campaign. Okay. Tone deaf. Again, tone deaf, projecting, just absolutely just not living in reality.
And he ran it in an environment where, I think one of the things we will be looking at, just as after 2016, we were looking at the resources that were saying that it was about, cultural anxiety and people feeling anxious about their place in a changing world. We got to look at what the gender divide really means in this country. And that's.
Keep going down this path, please, because this is why you just got rebuked and decimated in this election. Keep going down this path. People are tired of this identity nonsense. They want food on the table. They want secure borders. They don't want to be involved in foreign wars. That's what it came down to, okay? Regardless of race, color, gender, okay? That's why he outperformed everywhere, because people are tired of this garbage.
That's not by exit polls. I'm not talking about the surface, but there is something else that is happening in this country that Donald Trump, I think, because he's very good at this, he tapped into it with men in the I hear you, I see you. I think some of it is, part of the aftermath of the Me Too movement, where there were a lot of men who felt like there just wasn't a place for them, like they maybe weren't Harvey Weinstein, but they felt like, so what is appropriate? And I think they did feel kind of left out. So,
you think? Who started that? Who started all of that? Remember Brett Kavanaugh? Remember that? Who started it all? Again, I can't be more thrilled that this boomeranged back and smashed you.
I think there are two
Scott
levels
Jennings'
of
face.
this.
I can't take it.
Donald Trump is going to continue to be very divisive. I think Liz Cheney's comment is incredibly important because the
A dog whistle.
rule of law will matter. And I think part of what she's saying is somebody, we the people, are going to have to keep him in check. And
That's a dog whistle right there.
I think there are other currents going on in the country that certainly Democrats would ignore at our peril.
What you're hearing, ladies and gentlemen, is this isn't going to stop. This isn't going to calm down. This is going to ramp up very, very quickly. This is a man who was shot in the head and had another assassination attempt with a crazed lunatic repeating verbatim this type of rhetoric with an AK-47 who had Donald Trump in his sights. This is going to ramp up, okay? The whole machine is ramping up. The script has already been written. He won the election. Their book is going to get taken off the shelf, opened up, and put into action. Mark my words.
So, like we said, I think, when you see movement, and it's many places, as we saw, it's something structural. People are saying they were unhappy with the way things were going in the country, economically, the border, crime.
That's it. Stop talking. There you go. That's why he won. You could stop right there, but he won't.
They want Trump to fix it. They were also saying whether you're talking about focus groups or reporters out talking to people, there were a significant number of voters who would say, when hearing the most extreme things Trump is talking about, we got through the first term and none of these things happened. So 11% of voters who said Trump was too extreme voted for him. That is the bet they are making.
What's the context on too extreme? Too extreme in what? There's no context on it. Was he they think he's too extreme on his border policies? Do they think he's too extreme on his tax policy? What's too extreme? These vague just terms they throw out there, and they give you zero context when it comes to Trump. Never. They never give you context.
So we're going to find out. Is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. going to be in control of public health and challenging vaccine mandates in the states?
I hope so.
Donald Trump said in an interview with Time magazine that he believes he has the right to fire a U.S. attorney who will not start an investigation of someone he wants to be investigated, whether there's any evidence.
Donald Trump has the right to fire any U.S. attorney he wants. Bill Clinton fired, I believe, 93 out of 94 U.S. attorneys during, I believe, right in the beginning of his first term, maybe his second term. Bill Clinton fired 93 or 92 out of 93 or 93 out of 94 U.S. attorneys as soon as he got into office. I think it was his first term. I could be wrong. It might be his second term. So, yeah, Donald Trump could fire whatever U.S. attorney he wants. And you know what? He should fire anyone who he wants. He should probably clean house completely. He should probably clean out Christopher Wray completely. Don't make the same mistakes you did last time with Comey. If he doesn't like Wray, get rid of him immediately. Day one. Christopher Wray, thank you for your service. Here's your pink slip. Have a nice life in the private sector. I'm sure you're going to do fine.
Or not. Mass deportation. All of these things, did he mean them? And if he does them, will the voters who said, I'm annoyed that gas and groceries are so much, stay on board? We may or may not find out.
That's my point, and that's what I was attempting to pick what Kate was talking about, because what did they say? Past is prologue, right? And this man is 78 years old. And I know that one of the reasons this election went the way that it did is because people on this referendum on Joe Biden were more fond of the Trump years on election day than they were of their current situation, right?
Gee, I wonder why. Why is that, Bakari Sellers? You want to talk about this guy is something special, boy. That's
kind of the larger picture. But we have a colloquialism. It's FAFO. I'm going to let people Google that.
This is a dog whistle.
Right? And you're going to find out in the first 6 months of what that chaos was. For us on TV, it was like drinking out of a fire hose. It was foreign policy via tweet, right? It was what is the news story of the day? They had so many different press secretaries and so many different cabinet secretaries.
Right, because he fires people that maybe want to move on. He lets them go, or they're incompetent, so he fires them. You see, that's usually how good executives work. They fire people who aren't fulfilling their agenda or just doing a bad job in general. See, that's how this is supposed to work. You're not supposed to get a job in Washington and just be able to stay there no matter how bad you are. And that's what we have way too much of. And we have way too many people who fail up constantly in Washington, D.C. It's got to stop.
And they were just running through and churning through. And we forgot what that chaos was.
You manufactured the chaos. The most 99% of the chaos in Trump's presidency, his first term, was media and Democrat Party manufactured chaos. And it was all put together purposely. It was in conjunction. It's a cabal. We know that. We know the media and the Democrat Party are one and the same. It's all a system that the gears just grind together. And it's going to happen again, but I think this time he'll be way more prepared for it.
Steps I got on Capitol Hill every
we
day
just
trying to
forgot
cover the
what
Trump
that,
administration
and
was
then, you know, we just
thousands.
we beat January 6th to a pulp, rightfully so. But
you know, it wasn't just men who voted for the former president. Ron went over all of the exit results.
Women
He
within-
did
yeah.
incredibly well with a lot of women, a lot of people of color. And people say, oh, you know, he ran on this dark, bleak message. Well, you know what? For a lot of people, the country is dark and bleak. We're in New York. I went to Target yesterday with my wife, and every darn thing, lotion, everything you could think of, locked up behind doors, or someone has to come and unlock the key for you to grab a darn thing of deodorant. And that's normal in America. And so when people say, well,
It is now under Democrat policies. It 100% is now. That's normal.
crime is not a problem, these things are locked up because theft. So crime is a problem. So Donald Trump's case about the issues in this country are very accurate for a whole lot of regular people out there. That's why.
Remember, 2 + 2 always equals 4.
He got the support he received.
So, Scott, let me ask you a question, because we started this conversation with Liz Cheney talking about, okay, this is what's important for people to focus on in the second Trump administration. Ron raised the question, okay, is Donald Trump going to do some of these things that he said that he did that could potentially alienate some of those voters, right, who they voted for him anyway, even though they think he's too extreme because they're upset about this. This shows that there's an opportunity for Democrats in the future, and that Republicans will have to work, right, to hold on to this, right? They'll have to govern in a way that if you want to continue that mandate, right? If you want to keep that mandate together in the next election. Does Donald Trump care about like what Republicans are going to want to try to keep that in power going forward, considering that this is going to be his last administration? Is he going to be thinking about that as he governs the country?
I mean, I think he's only going to care about what the people who just elected him asked him to do. This is a mandate. I mean, the economic program, the immigration program, the foreign policy program. I mean, everything he laid out, you know, nobody's forgotten what Donald Trump did as president. And certainly everybody heard loud and clear what he was running on in this election. And he won a resounding victory. So my, you know, rudimentary and humble political advice would be just do what you said you were going to do, and you're going to have a very successful term, because that's what the people asked for.
we got what we.
Bingo. Bingo. And Bakari Sellers at the end. Oh, we got what we deserved. I mean, it's just so bitter. Like, they're like children. They're like 10-year-olds that lost the game at Candyland. That all of these panels, MSNBC, CNN. I was just watching The View. I'm sorry. I had to. Today, I had to. And it's just irrational meltdown. Sonny Hostin, just leave the country. Whoopi Goldberg, didn't you say you were going to leave? I'll drive you to the airport. But Sonny Hostin, with what she says, whose ancestors, by the way, were slave owners, as we know, makes this country sound so awful and the people in it so awful. Just leave. If it's that, just go if it's that bad. Go. She's full of it. She's not going anywhere. Where is she going to make the money she's making now, saying what she's saying? Anywhere else in the world? Nowhere. It's all fake. They're all fake. All of these people we just saw. You know, Scott Jennings, it must be great to be him today. It really must be. I mean, I'm jealous. It must be great to be Scott Jennings sitting at that table today. I mean, it really doesn't. It's like winning the Super Bowl. It must be something like that. That's the feeling he must have right now. But, like I said, if it's that awful here, go. Go. Nobody's going to miss you. And the old saying, you know, you're not a plane. You don't have to announce your departure. Just go. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. I appreciate all the support coming in, everyone that's subscribing, watching, liking, commenting, even if you disagree, if it's respectful, and if it's coming with some logic and some facts, I'm more than happy to engage, and I appreciate it. And let's just see what Trump has to say today. Maybe I might give you 2 today. Let's see.
Basically, all I've done is keep my promise.
Okay. All right. Well, we need more of that.
Fox and Friends in the morning, they're very honorable people.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll give you one more.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
I'm going to leave it at that. Have a great day, everybody.